again. So hi, everyone. Welcome to the We Honor Veterans Open Forum and Discussion. My name is Emily Marge, and I am the Veteran Services Associate. I am the one that everyone's been emailing for the past 2 years. So hello, welcome. It's so nice to see everyone's beautiful faces on Zoom, and it's so cool I get to see everyone in this virtual world, we call it, right? Yeah. So today's discussion was brought to my attention and Catherine's as well, because we noticed partners over the past year have been truly being resilient and have done wonderful, wonderful things, from virtual pinnings to drive-through events, virtual everything. It's been such a wonderful thing for our partners to have, and I really want our partners to share what they've been doing. So Catherine and I have made a COVID-19 activities page on our website, where we'll be talking about, the flexibility that we have opened up for the partner program. So let me just make Catherine the co-host real quick. Yes, okay, so she can do whatever she needs to do.
Afternoon, everyone.
Yeah. So for the first, it's like a basic outline what's going to happen today. The first couple minutes is going to do introductions, and then just really let you know, this is for you guys. This forum is for us to also see if we can add anything to the partner program, like examples for when we're going through the levels. We did have something similar for our level 5 group last August, and that went really well. And we really had a great time hearing from other partners, and really wanted to open up the platform for all levels, hospice and community partners alike. Just a few housekeeping things. Remember to keep yourself muted for now. There will be room for discussion and Q&A with Catherine and I. So if you have a question, feel free to ask it in the chat box, or feel free to raise your hand on Zoom. As well, this will be recorded as always. So I will show you where you can find the recording, and I'll also share with you as well the COVID-19 updated FAQs that we made. So, and then we'll also be hearing from one of our partners, Mr. Timmons from Trellis Healthcare in North Carolina, and he'll be giving you guys some examples of what he's done during COVID-19 as some example activities. So these are just suggestions, doesn't mean you have to do it, but these are just some examples on how creative our partners have been during this time. So let me just first share my screen with everyone. Okay. Let's see, can everyone see my screen? Perfect. Okay, thanks, Melissa. All right, so if we go to the frequently asked questions section on our webpage, you'll see the COVID-19 partner activities. This is where the recording will be itself. So if you're a level 5 regional mentor, or you're part of a larger hospice organization with multiple locations, and one of your coworkers missed a meeting, tell them to go here in the next few days, and the recording of this webinar will be here. So this is an example of the COVID-19 frequently asked questions FAQ that we made. One of the main questions that we received since the beginning of COVID is it okay if our hospice, our community partner staff, does our education virtually? 100%. That is perfectly all right. So if your hospice is in a hybrid situation with some staff's online, some staff is in person, it's a-okay for your staff educations to be done virtually. So no, please don't worry about that. And of course, if you have an internal learning platform that I noticed a few partners have had, it is all right from us at Team We Honor Veterans to use our PowerPoints and videos and upload it to your organization's internal educational platform as well. Before I get into the community presentation requirements, tips, and tricks, I wanted to give it over to Mr. Timmons to see if he had some tips and tricks and what he did with his hospice organization. He's done some incredible things. I attended a few virtual veteran cafes myself with him, and I really want him to share what he has been doing and take it away, Mr. Timmons.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Emily and Catherine, for the invitation. Yeah, I'm with the Trellis Supportive Care in Central North Carolina, and we are all here because we are with organizations, and personally, I think each one of us wants to support veterans and their families. So we're looking for different ways to do it. I am a Vietnam veteran, and I inherited our Veterans Outreach programs about 7 years ago. And we started having veterans coffees in person. If you can remember being in person with people, how nice that was. And we, at a year ago, a little over a year ago, we were doing about 70 a year. And we had thousands of veterans coming just to be together mostly. You know, it's called a veterans coffee, and we had free coffee and donuts. But the coffee and donuts were just kind of the lure to get them there. And once they were there, they just spent time together. They were talking. And when COVID happened, you know, we just kind of, what are we going to do now? And we started having virtual veterans coffees. And in the beginning, we would have 15, maybe 12 or 15. And we just started, it started growing. We started using our relationships, and all of you all doing what you're doing, you know, relationships are really everything. So we started reaching out to more and more people, and certainly our list of veterans who came to the coffees, the in-person coffees. But we are now having about 60 to 70 twice a month come be there as attendees. A lot of them are just individual veterans, and a lot of them are with organizations and partners like you guys. We honor veterans that come, that reach out to a lot more veterans. So we're talking to maybe 60 people, but the information's going out to thousands of people through the people that are there. And we wanted to figure out how can we get people face to face again, which the way we used to do it was impossible. We just couldn't do that. So, and you know, we knew Veterans Day was coming last year, and you know, Veterans Month. So we decided to try to have a drive-through Veterans Appreciation Lunch. So we started thinking where, and our Sears store in the mall closed, so they had that big parking lot outside their store. So I contacted the people who had authority over that, and they said, sure. Once I started asking people, it didn't used to be this way, but when I started asking people about something and I mentioned it's for veterans, they're almost shaking their head before we finish the question, because people do want to help. They just don't know how. So we're just offering them the opportunity. How can I help veterans? So we went to all of our relationships in our email lists and all that. We had no idea how many people were coming, because it's really difficult to gauge. And the veterans, a lot of the veterans that we were working with are my age. I'll be 75 next month. So, you know, they're not responsive to RSVPing and lots of these other things that are really helpful to know how much food to get and things like that. But we understand that. So we set up a way for them to RSVP by phone or by email, but we still didn't have a real clue. Are we going to have 100 or are we going to have 500? Well, we partnered also through one of our sponsors with the Winston-Salem Dash baseball team and the caterer for that team. So we decided just to have a basic baseball park lunch. We had 2 hot dogs, chips, really simple. You can just hand it in the window and they're gone. So we ended up having about 300 plus show up. We had one lady who is a World War II combat nurse who was 104 years old show up with her daughter. We had World War II veterans who were about to have their 100th birthday. We had lots of Vietnam veterans and some younger veterans as well. So it was just really, the outreach worked, the event worked. We had to really stress, you have to stay in your car, because if you've been around veterans, they want to shake hands and rub elbows and talk and be face to face. But one thing we really saw were smiles, because they were just yearning to be outside, for one thing, to have a place to go that was safe, and to see other veterans and to be around other veterans and other veteran supporters. That's in the world we live in. I don't know how it is around where you all are. In the past, your Veterans Day parades and things like that, so many of them have to be put on by veterans themselves. They've got to plan it, they've got to get the sponsors for it, they've got to put it all together. So when an organization has something to recognize veterans that they don't have to do anything other than just show up and be a part of it, I can't tell you how important that is for veterans and their families, because, and I'll tell you this too, that veterans' families are veterans too, because they've had to put up with us all these years, however long that relationship's been going on. But the event was great. It turned out to be a wonderful sunny afternoon. And through that event, we've just made so many more relationships. Now we have a relationship with the Winston-Salem Dash baseball team. And I got an email right after the November event from the caterer and said, if I can ever help you again, let me know. And I don't forget those things. If people want to help, I do my best to give them the opportunity. So we got to talking at Trellis again about having another one. And we are planning on June the 10th to have another veteran drive-through recognition lunch. But this time it's going to be at the ballpark. So, it's a much more confined area. Traffic will be a lot easier to manage because they have the experience of doing that. So we partnered with them again, of course, and we're getting, again, more relationships. It's all about relationships as far as, because it does take some money to support it and make it happen. But as a sidebar to all of that, North Carolina has a veterans resource guide. Every veteran that came through got a copy of that. They got copies of other, certainly about Trellis also, and copies of other information from organizations that support veterans. And again, we just saw so many smiles because they got out of the house, they got to be together, kind of, and it just really worked. So it connected the dots, which again is a lot of what we do and what you all do, because it's just it's important. We were able to reach out to more people because of our relationships with the VA, for one thing, the DAV, Disabled Veterans, VFW is American Legion. So anytime you can, in Marine Corps League, anytime you can make relationships, just file it away, put them on your email list, and just keep informing them of things that are going on. Resources, activities, and relationships. That's really what it's all about. So I'm so happy, and both Catherine and Emily have attended our veterans coffees. Catherine was one live several years ago, and it was pretty awesome. And then our virtual ones now, and I'm surprised that they're really working. People, they grow every month, and people are becoming more familiar with Zooming and all that sort of thing. So I'm just happy that a couple of years in my life 50 years ago have turned into something real important now, and I'm still able to connect with people who are important to me and important to each other, and really important to the community and our country of all ages and all eras. And I'm a happy camper right now, thanks to folks like you all and our communities. So any other thoughts or questions? I guess you can ask them later, or however we want to.
Yeah, so if anyone has any questions for Don, you can add it in the chat, or you can raise your hand and I will try to unmute you unless you can unmute. Let's see. All right, anyone have any questions for Don? I gotta say though, I attended the virtual cafes bi-weekly, and I can't tell you how wonderful it is to see how Don is putting on so many smiles on so many of these veterans who have sometimes been alone in isolation. And you can definitely see an impact, and I'm very grateful for that. And for all of you partners, you can host one of these in your community as well. And I do have a question coming in from Diane. She
Yes.
says, how did you get funding for the drive-through lunches?
We, through relationships, really, and it's really strange, that one, just a friend of mine knew a friend who, just like that. But just putting together, I'm a big believer in one pagers. You put your information down there and what you're doing and what you're asking for. And if you get it in enough hands, you'll get a lot of responses, especially again right now for veterans. It's just really about relationships. But when I contact people, especially about sponsorships, in my mind, I'm not asking them for money. I'm giving them, and I present it in a way as best I can, giving them the opportunity to support what we're doing. So it's the same thing. You're hoping to get money, but it's presented in a way that hopefully is different from a lot of other requests that they get for people wanting support. And we have lots of stories. I mean, we can, like you all, veterans, you can tell stories. And stories to me are just really, they remember stories more than they remember PowerPoints. And that's really kind of how I like to work. Go ahead.
I'd like to second that, Don makes a really good point about relationships. And I think that's so important from levels 1 through 5, is to have like a really good, successful Beyond Veterans programs, not only about building the veteran-centered culture in your hospice, it's about what you do outside your hospice, and that's why it's so important. Like, I know it's extremely hard with COVID and everything, but you guys have done such a phenomenal job, building those relationships, hosting Zoom calls, putting out flyers to your local veterans church group who are doing, socially distance, or putting flyers in your local library that's still open, doing a display case, talking about veterans and bringing awareness about veterans into life. Like, that is really important about relationship building. And you guys have each other as well. Like, that is something that you guys can always rely on, your fellow hospice community partners. You guys can totally, if you guys in the same area, it's all about collaboration. Catherine and I love collaboration. So that's something that's like really important. And I think everyone is doing it. And the virtual world, it makes it a little bit easier. There's no travel fees, there's no, worry about flights or anything. So take advantage of like this virtual environment. I know it's a little scary at sometimes, but it's working so far. So keep going and keep it on.
And Emily and Catherine have the Zoom link and the information about tomorrow. We're having a virtual veterans coffee in the morning. And if you guys would like to send it out to everybody and just join us tomorrow morning and kind of see what it's like. But it's casual, it's not intimidating, it's just kind of a free flow of information. And we have a speaker just about every time, but I think you'd find it interesting and maybe give you some ideas about how to start one yourself, because believe me, if I can do it, you all can do it.
Thanks, Don. And I do have a question coming in from Lori. So Lori, this is an example of an activity that you could possibly do. So Don said the drive-through event, you can even maybe do that as an idea for Welcome Home Vietnam Veterans Day, do a drive-through Welcome Home event.
Yes.
Or you can do a virtual cafe. These are just examples of what you can do in your community, for your community presentation requirement for all levels, 2 to 5, yes. All right, does anyone have any other questions for Don? I did put the Zoom link for the meeting virtual cafe with Don tomorrow. Again, it's 9:30 a.m. to 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Yeah.
Yes, it starts at
9 o'clock to 10:30, just in case anyone's on West Coast time. Hey, do we have any more questions for Don before we get? Oh, Okay, well, thank you so much, Dawn. I greatly appreciate you taking your time today. And all right, so does anyone have any questions or has something come up when you're going through your level activities that you want to discuss? Like, do you have an idea you want to share to see if it counts towards your community presentations, or any concerns that come up regarding your levels? Doesn't matter, levels 1 through 5. Anyone can raise their hand, or you can put anything in the chat box.
Hey, so I actually have a question kind of on the lines of the outreach part.
Yeah, sure.
One thing that I am having trouble with, we've just recently started doing our STAR, so we're only on the second one, is trying to actually get a hold of the people at like the VFWs or, the American Legion. It's sort of been this back and forth game of they come in and leave at noon or don't come in at all or what have you. So it's been harder to necessarily plan to schedule a plan something versus to actually plan something for us.
Yeah, no, I definitely hear that. It's something that many partners are going through right now. And if you're struggling to even get a phone call back, I say keep on trying again, but know that you have options to complete your community presentations as well. So if you find, like for example, I'll put a link to the COVID-19 FAQ guide in the document. So like many of our partners have done many different things to count your level activities. This can be levels 2 to 5. Like one hospice was having trouble getting their local vets groups like yourself to even join a Zoom call. While they were just like, no, we don't even have time for our own folks. So like one hospice did COVID-19 care packages for veterans, for homeless veterans in the area. So if you see a need in your area for your local veterans, they definitely do that. And that will absolutely count towards your community presentation activities. For example, the COVID-19 care package that this hospice made was for homeless veterans because they have a high percentage of homeless veterans in the area. This was in the midst of like the pandemic. So they were able to give PPE, some little snacks, some face mask, as well as some like call cards, so as well as directions as well to local veteran centers and hotlines as well. So those absolutely can count towards your level activities, as well as, working with your local, and know it's difficult with your local VFW, like you mentioned. So one hospice made a veterans resource page for their hospice program on their website, so that when people come on, they can see, oh, these are all the local veteran resources on our website. So those definitely can count. Or if you want, you can host a virtual walk, or a stand down or a food drive for veterans or communities. So say if you know a local veterans family that is in need of food, due to the pandemic or something, host a food drive for them at your hospice, get your coworkers involved, get your community involved, like, hey, this family needs a little extra something during these times. And that will 100% count to the level activities. Again, we're very flexible to what partners complete. You just have to let us know and we can definitely work on it and work with you. So don't worry. I hope that answers your question, Ashley.
All right, so there's a couple of questions about level 5 activities. So are they going to remain the same? And also, can you tell us more about any new webinars for level 5? Are they going to be required in 2021?
Yeah, so level 5, again, like we've always said from the beginning, is an ever-changing document. So like unlike the other levels, we get new things from the VA, we get new, like the trauma-informed care work group, for example, with the moral injury presentation, the suicide prevention, Vietnam veterans presentations, like those were added last year. We recently did add a new resource. I don't know if many of you attended our webinar last week, I believe, with the Department of Veteran Affairs and rural health researchers, and they did come up with some really great 10-minute resources So we will be possibly adding that to the level 5 renewal portion of the level 5 program. So yeah, I know like Nate's videos were really excellent. Yeah, they were really good. So we're really having some really great responses for that. And we'll be making the necessary adjustments. So for example, like, what do you guys feel? Do you feel like for those who are renewing level 5, like I really want to know, like, what do you feel like your staff will respond more to that, when you're renewing the process? So what I'm envisioning is that your staff can see the longer version who have never gone to the first training before. Those who are doing the renewal again can see the shorter 10-minute videos. Do you think that's viable for your level 5 renewal program for the renewal? Do you think staff will respond easier to that? I see a few nodding heads. So yeah, okay. Yeah, and like those are something that we can definitely adjust, and of course with COVID, please understand, and a general level 5, it's a year time frame, but it's okay if you need a little bit longer as well. So don't worry about that. I hope that answers everyone's questions. Great. Any other questions, anyone?
Yeah, there were a couple other questions about what partners are doing regarding those veteran specific questions, whether they are being added, and what have been other people's sort of experiences with that. Asking, do other organizations incorporate them into their regular satisfaction survey? Just because certain vendors only allow the addition of a certain amount of questions to be added. And so there was a response. And also along the lines of families feeling over surveyed, which completely get that. Let's see, yeah, Melissa answered, our VSQ survey is included in the CAP survey, and we've gotten some responses. So if anyone else wants to chime in, you are welcome to, but that's been typically what we've heard from partners as well.
Yeah, and I also included a link to the VSQ page as well, just in case I have any more questions. That came in. Sherry, the new website.
Yeah, and I see from Stacy, just regarding those webinars, the comment, I think current staff are more interested in new information, like ongoing trainings and panel discussions, which we could not agree with.
Yeah. Right, and I do see a question came in from Sherry. The new website says I will raise it after 1 year. Sherry, are you talking about your level report, or because, for example, the website itself only holds, like, if you save and submit, you save as draft for your report, it only saves it for 90 days. That doesn't mean you have 90 days to complete your report. It just means that the computer and the interwebs only saves for 90 days. So that's why we always highly, highly recommend you keep a Word document in your local hospice's cloud or whatever computer you're working on, just to have that as a backup. There was, in our website, we did go through a partner cleanup, if that's what you're asking for. So recruit level to level 2, if your organization was not active in 2020, by logging into the partner portal, your organization was removed. And your organization would have to start over from recruit level. So I hope that answers your question. Again, like that will be an ongoing thing in the coming years as well. And that's for recruit level to level 2.
So can you hear me?
Yes.
So I logged on and made sure, and I kind of added our information that was, to bring it up to date. But then because of COVID, basically, it's been harder to get the community presentations done. And so you're saying that after 90 days, if I haven't submitted anything.
Yeah, so the 90 days thing is just if it's saved as a draft. So
And then that'll
as long
stay
as
there for how long?
but the save as draft will only stay there for 90 days, but I see that you're actively logging into the partner portal, so there's no need to be worried about removal. So as long as you're logging in, we can definitely see it. So don't worry about
Okay.
that. Yeah, you're still in the
Okay.
system. Yeah,
Thanks.
yeah, no problem. I know that can be a little scary sometimes. So, all right.
Hi, okay, I see Nate added a comment. We recorded a panel discussion among 3 of our veteran volunteers discussing volunteering and resilience. We plan to distribute the video via our website and social media. Can we use this as an activity?
Yeah, I think that's a wonderful idea. You know, that you can like show your staff, you know, what your veteran volunteers are doing. That can count as one community presentation. Or if there's some type of educational component in the video from your veteran volunteers, it just really depends if that would count as a staff education, but more than likely it would definitely count as a community presentation. I hope that
And this may be a good time to add, of course, Nate, a good time to add. Em and I are sort of elbow deep in continuing to update resources, adjust things on the website. We realize that there are a lot of PowerPoints, a lot of things that were created many moons ago, and so we really are trying to do our best to make sure that those are as up to date as possible. And we're talking, you know, beyond branding and logos. It's more about the information. We want to make sure that the content is still relevant, and just knowing what a wealth of information our website is, we only want to keep things that are really relevant and helpful to our partners up on the website. So with that being said, we also really want to have a hub. We know so many of our partners have created resources of their own. I know a lot of folks from the Trauma Informed Care Initiative, you know, held virtual conferences, created panel discussions, things like what Nate just mentioned. You know, one of the big things that we appreciate about our We Honor Veterans partners is that they're just open to giving this information that may be helpful to other people. So we want to have what would be considered sort of like a crowdsourced resource page. So if you have something that you've created that you think may be helpful to other partners, particularly if you've used them as an activity requirement, send them to us so that we can get them up. You know, we realize that a lot of work goes into these, and we hope that you're willing to share just for the greater good of being able to share this as a resource for other partners, because chances are someone else is wanting to do that or thinking about it. So in an effort to not have people sort of reinvent the wheel or do something that's already been done, that would be really great to share with other partners as well.
I definitely agree with that. And I definitely see some people like Ashley, who is new into the program, would love that idea. And I think that's something that, you know, so happy that everyone's a partner, because you guys are so wonderful and you guys like really do care. So I would be more than happy to make a new webpage, you know, get everything on there for everyone. So it's great to hear that you guys would enjoy that. Let's see, I do see a question from Lynn. Yeah, so Lynn, you said that you're at level 3, but you haven't moved past that. So again, if you're new to your position, you know, feel free to reach out to me. You can always email me at veterans@nhpco.org, and we can set up a one-on-one meeting together, and I can go through the levels with you and help you get started onto your level 4 report. All right, and let's see. Does the Vet-to-Vet Cafe have to be hospice patients? No, it does not have to be. It can be veterans of your community as well. And I know Christine mentioned that she's on the board of an honor flight, which is awesome. And yeah, of course, feel free to invite any veteran you know on the virtual cafes, you know, and Don can attest to that. You know, there's people from all over that join his Vet-to-Vet cafes in his community. Yeah, so insert, yep. I'll put my email.
Yeah, I will second that. John has had literally everyone from local business owners to members of his representatives. Anyone and everyone comes and attends those. And it's great to see that once they've attended one, they tend to keep showing up, and then word just spreads even more. So we always say they're open to everyone. Everyone is welcome, even if you're not a veteran. Chances are you have a connection to a veteran. So yes, definitely the more the merrier.
Any other questions coming in? Anyone have raised their hand? What do you see? Nikki said that she loves partnering with her hospice veteran partnership and collaborating on her vet to vet cafes. Yes, so that is another option as well. You guys have a bunch of resources at your fingertips. You know, with your local hospice veteran partnership that you are part of, ask them to join. You know, maybe you guys are doing a joint, you know, a joint giant HVP veteran to veteran cafe group. Like that would be awesome. You can do breakout rooms if you're into Zoom that way. You know, you can get as creative as possible as well. And Christy asked, what is a vet to vet cafe? Don, would you want to take that question? I feel like that's right up your alley.
Sure. Yeah, you had mentioned the different type of people that come, but veterans, you know, share the common experience of having been in the military, and they, you know, you have two veterans who have been side by side who have totally different experiences. But the big experience is they were part of the military. They were part of this group of men and women who served our country, and a lot of them in combat. So we just, you know, when we have our in-person veterans coffees, I almost hate to start the meeting because there's so much conversation out there. Person to person, whole table sitting together, you'll have Navy people sitting over here, and you know, just different MOSs that have done different things and served at different times, sitting together just talking. And I think the talking is the important part. But we discuss just about everything. We have speakers, we have generals speak. There's no rank. There is no rank at these gatherings. Now, if you are someplace and you are in the military, you know, that's the qualification to be there. And we've all had different experiences while we were there. So I'm not sure if that answers your question. I got kind of sidetracked, but just having veterans together with veteran supporters. You never know who's going to show up. There are organizations out there, there are businesses out there who would love to support veterans, but they don't know how. So the more you're able to get the word out about what you do and invite them, if they're interested in it, they're there for the right reasons, to your events, you make that connection. And we have supporters that you would never think would be interested, show up and support financially and support in lots of other ways. So it's magic. It really is. I've had so many calls since COVID started, you know, when are we going to be able to do this again? When are we going to be able to get together again? And I say, I wish I knew. But the virtual veterans coffees are working. You know, we're getting a lot of people who I never thought would be on the computer attending a virtual veterans coffee, but they do. They find a way. And we have new people. And it's just a way to stay connected and to find out. We have, the VA is on there every time with us, and they have a little subject matter that they talk about. We have a featured speaker. We have two weeks ago, and Emily, you were there, and Catherine, you were there for just a little bit. Our speaker was a Vietnam veteran who was a prisoner of war in North Vietnam for almost 6 years. And just to tell his story, people were just, you know, just amazing. But that's not his entire life. You know, he had an awesome pre-war life, you know, a horrible Vietnam prisoner of war life, but he survived it, and he grew from it. And then his after the Vietnam War life was great. So we just try to make all of them different. We like to connect dots, And that's mainly what it's all about, is connecting dots. And we just can't wait to get back face to face. And we just love to have other people kind of tag along and figure out how to do. And we didn't know. We just started it, and it grew, and we were able to connect with people who are interested in veterans and supporting veterans and their families. So I think I rambled a little bit more than what you asked, but I'm just sold on what we do and how we've been able to make it work. And I would love to help anybody else that would like to ask, just call me on the phone and ask questions. I'll put my phone number in there as well, but you all are here for the right reason. And the veterans are, all of us don't need help. A lot of us just want to help. So it's just a total range of different reasons, different experiences as being a veteran, and different views of how to live the rest of your life. So, and this organization is amazing. You guys have, both Emily's been to virtual, and Catherine, you've been to a big event. And there's no way to explain it, because the bridge is already there from veteran to veteran, and the information and the relationship and the experiences flow back and forth so much easier than a veteran with a non-veteran. It's just that connection is there. So I thank all of you all for what you do for veterans. I mean, it's important, it's meaningful, and it's meaningful to the families, because it helps bring a veteran out when they know somebody's really interested in their experience and their thoughts. It helps them talk about it. And a lot of times the family has never heard the story. So keep doing what you're doing, because it really is important. Reach out to veterans. And again, I'd be happy to work with anybody to explain and share what we've been able to do at Trellis.
Thank you so much, Don. I
Sure.
greatly appreciate it. And I'm sure everyone else on this call greatly appreciates it as well, but yeah, I do see in the chat box, people are saying thank you, and, sending lots of thanks to down south in North Carolina. So I do see, okay, I just see a question come in about, can we make our own PowerPoint presentation for our community virtual events? Of course, you can definitely make your own veteran education presentation. I just, make sure that you have your sources and everything up there when you're providing the information to your community. Absolutely. Yeah, let's see. Anyone else have any questions, thoughts, anything? This is an open forum. So, anyone, I know you guys all love to talk. So, anyone want to say anything? Anyone have any questions?
Hey, Emily, this is Sue Gibson. How are you?
Good. How are you, Sue?
I'm good. I'm good. Hey, I just wanted to tack on a few things. I love listening to Don and the things he was sharing. I would also like to encourage our partners to think outside the box a little bit about those veteran cafes, because especially during this time of COVID, when isolation is such an issue, that is really triggering a lot of our veterans and some of the issues that they've had. So something that has occurred in one of my offices is, and I just love this. I just think this is brilliant. They're doing, the game cornhole. They are having cornhole veteran to veteran cafes. And of course, they work better in the summertime when you're outside and you can socially distance better. But you could also hold them inside a gymnasium or something like that. and the veterans can get together and they can talk and they can laugh and have camaraderie, and you're able to maintain your social distancing that way. So, just thinking outside the box, it doesn't always. One of the things, I mean, I work with a lot of agencies, and I keep telling our crew that it doesn't always have to, you don't have to run out and rent the Starbucks and have a meeting there. Let's just really think outside the box. And that was just one of the best ideas that I thought it was pretty innovative, and I wanted to share that. So
Definitely. Thanks for sharing that. Sounds like a fun socially distanced event when it's a little bit warmer in your neck of the woods.
well, yeah. Yeah.
Definitely. And I do see a question come in from Nate. He asks, can a welcome home themed virtual veterans cafe meet the requirement for welcome home event? Of course. But you still have to keep the 4 virtual veterans events, but that would count as a separate event for your welcome home event itself. Hopefully that wasn't too confused. I feel like I said welcome way too much. But I'm also going to put in the chat box the link to the COVID-19 partner activities FAQ page as well. Again, this web page will be updated, as the years is going on, with any additional FAQs or links in the recording of this webinar as well for any of your coworkers who could not attend today as well. Let's see. Any other questions? Catherine, do you see anything coming in that I can't see? Yes, I do know Amanda is doing, Amanda is part of, I believe, Heart of Hospice, and they're doing an example for their welcome home. They're doing a hybrid event. So each local hospice is going to be hosting their own event, and then they're going to do a statewide one as well on Zoom, which is, I think, a really great idea to keep it socially distant. Let's see. Page. Yeah. So how about you go presenting to the community? Of course, Dana, it will be definitely different with COVID and everything going on. So that can be done virtually as well. And again, in the COVID-19 FAQ document, we do mention that if your hospice is having a hard time with people saying, some of our folks may not be into Zoom or Teams, whatever internet platform you use to share. A lot of them, especially Zoom, you can dial in and listen in on a landline as well. So that's also another option I recommend to let people know, you can totally dial in from a landline or a cell phone or whatever device you use to get onto Zoom or Teams at sometimes. And of course, if they can't see that, if you're doing a PowerPoint presentation, if they have access to an email or you can send a letter, that's definitely an option as well. And meeting will be recorded as always. And any other questions, any comments? Anything? Catherine, you want to say anything? Sorry to put you on a spot.
Oh, hi everyone. I'm so glad to see so many folks joining and plenty of familiar faces as well. I just wanted to again thank Em for hosting this. She's done an amazing job, and I think we all know and appreciate all of the work and support and customer service that she provides to our partners. I am very fortunate to have her on the We Honor Veterans team, and to thank Don again, for speaking about his experiences and all that he's done. Being fortunate enough to go to one of his in-person vet-to-vet cafes, what feels like a lifetime ago in person. I remember thinking, oh, this will be a small gathering, and it ended up being at a racing museum with, was it 2,000 people in attendance, I believe? It was huge. It was my first We Honor Veterans event, and it was both breathtaking and amazing. But the one thing that I really remember was at the end, one Vietnam veteran came up to me. I spoke a little bit about my father when I said a few words, and he got a little bit choked up, saying that he'd had a rough year. His wife had passed away, but that the Vet Cafe group was one of the strongest communities that he had, and without them, he thought that he may have taken his own life and may not currently be here right now. And right when he started saying that, one of his buddies, with his cane, sort of walked up and said, "What are you like? Are you kidding me? You can't go anywhere. You're my ride to these cafes." And that was sort of the camaraderie that they had. So it really was incredible to see. Just a couple of other quick updates, I think from the NHPCO standpoint. Very happy to announce that as of last week, our contract with the VA is in place again. So we will be continuing on our trauma-informed care initiative. Yay, I see Nikki applauding. This year it's going to be bigger and it's going to be better. We are going to have so many more resources for you all, starting last week with that PTSD webinar. Know that more are going to be coming out, particularly focused on, again, PTSD, suicidal ideation, and moral injury. But I know that a lot of people really appreciated and took well to that format, bite-sized videos, the discussion points. We really want to start thinking more along those lines. Less of the, here is a long PowerPoint for you all to present, and a lot more interactive and bite-sized pieces. Aside from that, a big piece of this initiative will be connecting you all to the VA's telemental health support. So how's this going to work? What's it going to look like? There will be more to come, but just know that that is a huge piece of this initiative. Another part will be us updating that screening tool that I know a lot of level 5 partners are using, and the trauma-informed care grantees used as well. This is going to go back to the hands of VA subject matter experts, as well as the NHPCO trauma-informed care work group. We want to revamp and refine and make sure that this is really easy to use for all hospice partners. So again, lots more good things to come. We will be sending out our partner survey probably at the beginning of April. So we will greatly appreciate your participation in that. I promise it'll be short and sweet. It won't take more than a couple of minutes, but we always appreciate your feedback. I think that's all we have right now. And yes, the PTSD webinar is available on our website. Those videos, again, are super quick. They're on YouTube, and we also have the PowerPoint presentation available for folks as well on that webinar.
I would also like to add a quick update from our Hospice Action Network from NHPCO. They are doing a bunch of take action alerts to contact your member, your senator, and your congressional member on the Telehealth Modernization Act and a few other things. I'm including a link in the chat box. It's completely up to you if you want to take action, and it's really easy. You just plug in your home address, your name, information, and it sends it right away. So feel free to share that with your network as well. This is all things hospice related, and that relate to you and your hospice organization. So feel free to share that with your network as well. And any other questions? Let's see. Catherine, Mandy asks, do you want us to use the TIC screening tool or the VA tools more directly to share with staff regarding trauma-informed care?
So the current screening tool that is up on the on our Veterans Level 5 resource page is going to be the one that we have in place right now. It will be updated. Unfortunately, I can't give you a timeline on that. So I will say continue to use the one that is in place right now, but we will let you know as soon as the new one is available. And along with the new one being available, we will have a Q&A and overview session with VA subject matter experts to really walk you through how to use that, why you should be using it, and just really a step-by-step guide for all hospice staff when looking at that screening tool. not only how to use it, but then where to go from there, if you are seeing a patient that is distributing signs. So again, lots more to come. But again, big thank you to the Trauma Informed Care pilot grantee group that participated last year, because you really did lay the foundation and sort of mark the way for more work that we need to do that will be coming this way this year. So we are very excited about that. I think someone else asked a question about the PTSD videos. Does each one count? We would prefer that you just view that as an entire piece. Each video is only 8 to 10 minutes long. And I think the webinar in its entirety is much more useful, just because they walk you through a lot of prompting questions, and then at the end, go through any questions that staff on their webinar had, as well as sort of some frequently asked points that are brought up. So all of that will be helpful to folks rather than just sort of piecemealing them. And again, it's only an hour long. So
I included the live link in the chat box as well, just in case. And feel free to email myself if you can't find a link or you need something. Happy to direct you in the right direction. All right. Yeah, thank you. So I really hope everyone got something out of this today. Got to see a few familiar faces. Very excited to see everyone online. Let's see. Gibson. Share. So at this moment, we are still in the process of the maintenance activities portions for levels 4, for example, to maintain your level 4. So that will be released shortly. Great. I know it's 1:57, few minutes left. Anyone have any final thoughts, questions, or anything? Or like, would you guys want to, like, a question I asked is, would you want to see something like this again, like a mid other COVID check-in to see how things are going? If you think that'll be helpful to yourself and other partners. Yeah, okay, I see people nodding their heads. All right. Cool, okay, take a note of that. Great, awesome. All right, so take note that real quick. All right, so with that being, with that being said, I just want to say a sincere thank you to everyone that came here today. Thank you, Dawn. Thank you, Catherine, for being my backup. I greatly appreciate everything that you guys do. It really brings everything, it's just wonderful to see everyone and talk to everyone every day. So continue being light for everyone else in your community, that you are lights to me as well. Thank you so much. And I know it's kind of will give you guys at least 2 minutes back of your time of your day. If anyone has any other questions or thoughts, I will let everyone go. And I hope everyone has a great rest of your day. And please let us know if you need absolutely anything. We're here for you. Yeah, and thank you so much. Have a great day, everyone.
Great job, Em. Thanks, everyone.